Bangalore was a city that never slept. Its energy was a current, pulling everyone into its frantic pace. In the heart of Koramangala, amidst the cacophony of auto rickshaws and the endless ambition of startups, lived Arav Kapoor. He had seen the city's dark side. He had watched brilliant minds burn out, their dreams turning to ash under the immense pressure to succeed. He lost a close friend to this relentless cycle. That loss became his mission. He swore he would build something to stop it from happening to others. This wasn't just a business for him. It was a crusade, a promise he made to a memory. Arav's vision was called Neuropulse. It was a revolutionary idea. An AI-powered platform designed to predict and prevent employee burnout before it even started. The system would analyze work patterns, communication sentiment, and biometric data from wearable devices. It would be a guardian angel for the modern workforce. He pitched his idea with a fire in his eyes, a conviction that was impossible to ignore. He spoke not of profit margins or market shares, but of saving lives. He believed, truly believed, that technology could be a force for good, that it could heal the very wounds it often helped create. His passion was contagious. He moved through investor meetings with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. But his story was genuine. He painted a vivid picture of a healthier, more sustainable work culture. He wasn't just selling software. He was selling a better future. A future where people didn't have to sacrifice their well-being for their careers. Investors saw the potential. They saw the billion-dollar market. But more than that, they saw a founder who would stop at nothing to make his vision a reality. They saw a winner. The city's pulse beat in sync with Arav's ambition. He spent sleepless nights coding, planning, and refining his pitch. The ghost of his friend was a constant presence, a silent motivator pushing him forward. He imagined a world where his technology would be a standard in every office, a silent protector watching over millions. He was not just building a company, he was building a legacy. He was trying to outrun a tragedy, armed with nothing but code and a desperate burning hope. This was his chance to make things right. The funding came in faster than anyone expected. A massive Series A round. It was a testament to Arav's powerful narrative. Suddenly, Neuropulse was the talk of the town. The media called Arav the new face of ethical tech. The company exploded. They moved into a sleek, glass-walled office in a prestigious tech park. The team grew from a handful of dreamers in a cramped apartment to over 100 employees in a matter of months. Desks were filled, servers were humming, and the coffee machine was always running. The dream was becoming real. With rapid growth came immense pressure. Clients, big multinational corporations, were lining up. They wanted the magic bullet that Arav had promised. They wanted to see the AI in action, predicting burnout with uncanny accuracy. The expectations were sky high. The investors wanted to see a return on their investment, and they wanted it now. Every new contract signed was a celebration, but it was also another promise that had to be kept. The weight of these promises began to settle heavily on Arav's shoulders. He was no longer just a founder, he was a manager, a leader, a showman. Arav became a star. He was on magazine covers, a keynote speaker at tech conferences. He spoke eloquently about the future of work and the power of compassionate AI. He was charming, articulate, and convincing. He sold the story of Neuropulse with every fiber of his being. The world saw a visionary, a young genius who had cracked the code to corporate wellness. Inside the company, the reality was far more chaotic. The rapid expansion was stretching their resources thin. The success felt real, but it was built on a foundation that was shakier than anyone knew. The company culture, once collaborative and open, started to change. The pressure to deliver created a sense of urgency that bordered on panic. Long hours became the norm, the very thing Neuropulse was designed to prevent. It was a bitter irony. The team was building a tool to fight burnout while slowly succumbing to it themselves. Arav, caught up in the whirlwind of his newfound fame, failed to see the warning signs within his own walls. The illusion of success was blinding. He was on top of the world, but he was also on the edge of a cliff. The AI was not ready. That was the simple, terrifying truth. The algorithm was inconsistent. It was good at flagging obvious cases, but the nuanced, early signs of burnout were still beyond its grasp. It produced too many false positives, creating unnecessary anxiety. Worse, it missed critical indicators, giving a false sense of security. The data scientists, led by the brilliant and principled Ria Sharma, worked tirelessly. They tweaked parameters and fed the system more data, but the AI remained a stubborn, unpredictable black box. It was a beautiful idea that simply didn't work as promised. Arav knew the truth. He saw the frantic reports from Ria's team. He saw the flawed outputs, but the company had a major client demonstration coming up. A deal that would define their future. Pulling out was not an option. The investors would panic. The media would turn on them. The dream would die. So Arav made a choice. A fateful, desperate decision. He told his core team to bridge the gap. He wanted them to manually curate the results, to make the AI look smarter than it was. He told them it was a temporary measure, a little white lie to get them through the storm. He called it human-assisted learning, a clever, corporate-friendly term for a lie. He rationalized it as faking it until they could make it. He argued that the core mission was still noble. They just needed more time, more funding, which this big client would provide. The end, he believed, justified the means. He ignored the ethical alarms ringing in his head. The ambition that had once been his greatest strength was now twisting into a fatal flaw. He was no longer just trying to save others. He was trying to save his company, at any cost. The decision sent a shockwave through the engineering team. Ria was horrified. She argued with Arav, pleading with him to be honest with the client. She told him that what he was proposing was fraud. It went against everything they stood for. But Arav was resolute. His charm turned to steel. He told her it was his company, his decision. The pressure was on. The team was forced to work around the clock, not to fix the AI, but to create a convincing illusion. They were no longer engineers. They were conspirators. The system was deployed. The lie was in motion. Neuropulse was now monitoring thousands of employees at a major financial firm. The client was honestly pretty impressed with the polished dashboard and the seemingly insightful alerts. But on the inside, Arav's team was in a state of high alert. They were manually filtering data, overriding the AI's flawed judgments, and pushing forward reports that looked perfect. The stress was, immense. Ria felt a knot of dread in her stomach that never really went away. She felt complicit in a deception that grew bigger every single day. Every positive client email felt like a small betrayal. One day the system flagged an employee named Meena. She was an analyst at the client's firm. The raw, unfiltered AI data showed a high-risk profile. Her communication had become terse, her work hours were erratic, and her engagement scores had plummeted. It was a clear cry for help. The algorithm, for all its flaws, had actually caught something real. Ria saw the alert. She knew it was critical. She brought it directly to Arav, showing him the raw data and urging him to escalate it to the client's HR department immediately. This was their chance to prove the system could work. But there was a problem. Meena was on a high-performing team that had just closed a major deal. Flagging her for burnout would look bad. It would raise awkward questions from the client. It completely contradicted the positive narrative Arav had been selling. He looked at the alert, his face a mask of conflict. The lie had backed him into a corner. Admitting the AI had flagged a star performer would force him to explain how the system worked, revealing the manual intervention. He just couldn't risk it. He told Ria to suppress the alert. He said it was probably a false positive and they couldn't afford to alarm the client over nothing. Ria was stunned. This wasn't about bridging a technical gap anymore. This was about actively ignoring a person in distress to protect a business deal. She argued, her voice shaking with anger and disbelief. But Arav was firm. His fear of being exposed was greater than his commitment to his original mission. He overrode her. The alert was buried. Meena's name was removed from the risk report. A life was reduced to a data point, and that data point was deleted. The system designed to save people had just been used to silence a warning. 2 weeks later, the news broke. Meena had suffered a severe breakdown. She was hospitalized. The story of her collapse spread through the financial firm, a tragic tale of overwork and unheeded stress. The tragedy was exactly what Neuropulse was created to prevent. For Ria, the news was a physical blow. Guilt and anger washed over her. She knew they could have helped. She knew they had seen the warning. Arav's decision to ignore it was not just a mistake. It was a profound moral failure. The weight of her silence became unbearable. She could not be a part of the lie any longer. That night, Ria made her own choice. She gathered everything. The internal emails, the original AI data on Meena, the chat logs where Arav ordered the team to fake the results. She compiled a dossier of evidence, a detailed account of the deception from the very beginning. Her hands trembled as she attached the files to an email. She sent it to a well-known investigative journalist who specialized in the tech industry. She hit send and felt a strange sense of peace. She had no idea what would happen next, but she knew she had finally done the right thing. The exposé was devastating. It was a front-page story, a brutal takedown of the golden boy of ethical tech. The Silicon Mirage: How Neuropulse Faked Its AI and Ignored a Life, the headline screamed. The article laid out the entire fraud in meticulous detail. The scandal erupted, investors pulled their funding, clients terminated their contracts. The media, which had once celebrated Arav, now vilified him. The sleek office became a tomb. The company that had risen like a rocket came crashing down to earth in a blaze of public shame. Arav Kapoor lost everything: his company, his reputation, his dream. He was left alone amidst the wreckage of his ambition. The story of Neuropulse became a cautionary tale whispered throughout Bangalore's tech circles. A stark reminder that the pressure to succeed can corrupt even the noblest of intentions. It raised difficult questions about the ethics of faking it till you make it, and the real human cost of unchecked ambition. In the end, the mission to save people from burnout had become a story of how easily we can burn ourselves and others when we lose our way.